Welcome back to the Ciel Power podcast. We're still joined by Farah Ahmad, a green building expert. We're humbled and honored to have her here in the studio with us. Farah is an architect. She is a LEED certified professional, and she's also working to write the codes for the buildings of the future in the homes that we will live in a generation from now. And it's an honor to have you in the studio. Thank you for being here.
Thanks. Thank you, Scott.
And we're doing this 5-part series where we're bringing information to homeowners about how they can make their house more efficient, how they can lower the operating cost of their home, and what are we going to jump in 5 of 5 here? What's episode number 5 going to be about?
So today we're going to talk about lighting because that's another big load, and it's something that has so many simple hacks that we don't necessarily think about all the time. And these are things that are not technical, things that we can implement starting today.
Mm-hmm. All right. So what's number 1? What is the main thing that somebody has to think about with regard to the lighting that's installed in their house?
So if we're starting off with the process of purchasing a fixture and purchasing the casing around it and the lampshade, the first thing I always want to emphasize, lighter is always better. Your lampshade color, whether it's translucent and the color, how light it is, that will impact how much light gets through. I think that's one that's overlooked very often. You know, we're kind of wanting this maybe modern aesthetic with a darker look. But really the color of your lampshade can affect how much light is illuminating and passing through.
Interesting. And I think the color of the room can do the same. I think that if you
Exactly.
are painting and remodeling, maybe think about some of the lighter shades as opposed to some of the darker shades where you're going to have to come in with some supplemental lighting, which could be
Exactly.
using more energy and raising your bills. Amazing. What else? What are the next things to do? I remember going to the street fair and getting handed these like little swirly bulbs and things like that. Are those still a thing, or what should we do? What kind of bulbs should we be thinking about for our home?
So LED bulbs are the future, they're the present. They should have been the past, but really LED bulbs are going to be the best way to quickly knock down power. And really, if you're replacing any bulbs, go straight to them. Something we need to think about is with those swirly bulbs, any incandescents or CFLs, obviously they're producing this, they might be producing the same number of lumens, but they're doing that with a lot more wattage.
Okay.
So just for context, an incandescent bulb will produce 5 times more watts for maybe the same amount of lumens that are being produced. So something we need to look at when we're shopping for bulbs is the amount of lumens that is on the package. Shop for lumens and see how much illumination, how much light you're going to get out of that bulb. See what's written on that product spec. So just remember that an energy efficient bulb is going to produce a lot more lumens with less watts.
Nice. Do you have a color preference? I know LEDs come in soft and daylight and warm.
Yep.
Do you have any thoughts on the different variations of LED lighting that are available to homeowners out there?
Yes, for me personally, for my home and for my lifestyle, I actually prefer warmer settings for lightings, but I know that cooler settings might be better for some. But you can buy bulbs that echo daylighting and give you that same simulation so it feels a lot more natural. That's definitely something that you might respond to better. So take a look at daylight simulated bulbs.
Okay. What else? Any other lighting tips that people should keep in mind? Should we just have one light that has an off and on switch and lights the whole room? Should we try to focus
Yep.
our efforts and get a little bit more specific in our lighting applications? What are your thoughts around that?
Right. So oftentimes when we've got that one switch, it's controlling all the lights in our room and we're thinking, oh no, it's all this energy is being drawn. What can we do about it? Well, the simple solution is you can actually have a more flexible lighting layout. If you can create and take advantage of task lighting, which is where we can purchase floor lamps or table lamps or desk side lamps, and just use those for one of our individual tasks versus turning the switch on and putting all the bulbs on, you're going to get the light that you need, but it's going to be concentrated just what you're using, and you're not going to be relying on all the bulbs that are in your room.
So if I'm working late and I'm at my desk, rather than having all the room lights on, I could just sit here and use like a desk lamp of some sort that would operate with less energy.
Exactly. And you know, some rooms also will come with a recessed layout or a pendant layout where you assume that you need to use all the fixtures, but particularly with recessed layouts in rooms where you've got a bulb in each socket, you might not need to have all the bulbs in place. So you could actually unscrew a couple if you don't need it and just allow your lighting layout to be dictated by some of those sockets, so not all your bulbs are on. You might, after using the space, realize that you didn't actually need that extra light because there are already 6 in the room. So
Wow. All right. So focused direction, small amounts of energy. Anything else that homeowners should be thinking about?
Going back to maybe illuminance and reflection, something that we can do is if you've got floor lamps in your room or you have the flexibility to figure out where you're going to be placing lighting, think about how light is reflecting off of a corner versus placing your lamp in the middle of a room or just floating in a space. So if we place it against a wall, we can have that light reflect off of one surface and another surface. And so if you place it in a corner, you're going to get a lot more out of your lamp.
Interesting. And do you have any thoughts on dimmers? There's, I'm partial to a softer, more ambient light than, some wide floodlight. Do you have any thoughts on dimmers? Are those helping me save energy? Does it matter, or is it just personal preference?
I think with lighting, it also does come down to perception, and we as humans want to have control over the lighting that we have. So I think dimmers are an excellent solution because it allows you to control how much light you want versus an on and off where you're either all or nothing. Mm-hmm. With a dimmer, you can at least have the option to get less power being drawn because you're going to reduce your lighting load, but you'll still be able to adjust to how much light you want. So you still have that control. And I think that psychological benefit of the energy consumption and having control of how much lighting you actually need, that's a good balance, the dimmer.
And what about leaving the lights on versus lights off, timers, motion sensors? Do you have any opinion on any of those different controls that are designed to turn lights on or off or automate that process?
Yes. I mean, if you have a building management system where you're able to hook up your building to smart devices, it's absolutely the way to go. A lot of times a lot of us, if we're not trained to be conscious of our usage, we're not going to necessarily turn the lights off. I'm trained to do it. You're trained to do it. My husband is not necessarily always trained to do it, but family members in general. So those that are more conscious of energy usage, we turn our lights off. But if you want to keep all your lights off on a timer, again, this is just an automated way for you to go ahead and shut them off.
Amazing. All right. Well, thank you very much, Farah. Thank you for joining us. Subscribe. If there's something we didn't cover in this 5-part series that you want us to talk more about, please leave it in the comments below. Farah, this was amazing. Renewable Farah on Instagram, Ciel Power on Instagram, and others channels. We are so grateful for you for spending time with us today. Thank you so much for all of this information. It's amazing. And thank you for being here.
Great, thank you. And hoping all homeowners will be empowered to just take on these simple hacks and save energy long term.
Hear, hear.